You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes.
I'm going to disagree with you right there because the Dallas Cowboys are actually going to have less wins this year than the team that I'm about to talk about. And the team that I'm about to talk about are the Atlanta Falcons.
The hottest debates.
He's the all-time leading scorer, a four-time MVP. LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever, not MJ.
Yeah, greatest losing in the finals, maybe.
And some of the top interviews in sports radio.
Super Bowl champion, Brad Johnson.
This is Joe Urso, five-time national champion head baseball coach for the University of Tampa.
This is five-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor.
This is President Brendan Kelly. You're listening to Sports Pack.
You know what time it is. Wolves country, let's ride. Yes. You can believe your eyes, you can believe your ears. Your sports director, Brendan Willoughby Ray, is alive. I'm back from Las Vegas, I'm back from the flu, and I'm ready for my last week here at Wolf Sports Network on Sports Pack, joined by the Core 5. You already know Gianna, Carly, Richard, and my man Gavin himself behind board, working on production, doing incredible things for the station. You know, I really missed this Georgia air. I missed this humid, and yes, human.
I thought you were saying human.
No, it is. It's human air. It's humid air.
Okay, go on with your intro.
You can feel the spirit of this town in this air. You know what else I missed besides this Georgia air?
What?
I miss Jefferson's wings, okay? They are served up hot and fresh daily with 20 different sauce options. Run, don't walk to Jefferson's to get yours today. Located at 342 Maple Street, visit their website at jeffersons.com or follow them on Instagram at jeffersons_Carrollton. Now, we have a jam-packed, incredible show for y'all, talking NFL draft, getting into the NBA playoffs, an incredible hot take debate stager for y'all at the end of the show. We haven't done it in a while, so we had to get a little bit of debate going before we get out of here on Thursday. But first things first, y'all know where we start off.
West Georgia dials up a 29-yard score on 4th and 6.
D1, baby. Go Wolves. Now, the spring game was this past Saturday. It was an incredible game. Our man Richard was there. We're going to throw it to him first. Give us your first impressions of this football team after a great spring game.
I mean, it was really cool to see the defense looks retooled, revitalized, very refreshing. And it makes sense seeing that we have a brand new head coach who is defensive-minded, head coach Joel Taylor, who last year was defensive coordinator at Mercer. I mean, the defense looks entirely brand new. It was very refreshing to see the quarterback battles going on. Davin Widener seemed like, without a doubt, the starter during the spring game. We still got a lot more ball to go through. Still got injured quarterbacks that transferred, that didn't play in the spring game. We've got other guys that are probably going to take big leaps forward throughout fall camp and summer camp. So it's too early to tell, really. But my biggest takeaway is, man, it's going to be an exciting season. No matter how it goes, this team's going to make it exciting. We saw some trick plays. Saw a wide receiver throw like a 60-yard touchdown pass to a running back during the game. It was crazy. Fake screenplay. I mean, it got crunk out there on the sideline just like that. Because at first it was kind of dead, a bunch of 3-and-outs in a row. Then all of a sudden, big play, trick play, 60-yard touchdown pass. It was great. So I think this is going to be a very exciting team. There's some depth issues along the line of scrimmage that were pretty noticeable during the spring game, but my gut feeling is telling me that this recruiting class is about to come in will help address a lot of those. Saw a lot of signees that were on the sideline, giant human beings out there that have been signed to play on the offensive and defensive line. And my gut's also telling me that this portal window is going to be pretty good to West Georgia as well. So I say stay tuned. It'll be an exciting season. Don't forget, it's still year one under a new head coaching staff. So, I mean, things should develop slow. I mean, they typically do. I think there'll still be some exciting football being played.
Yeah, not just to mention that, you know, the first year in the new head coach, but also it's our first year in Division I, so there are always going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some changes, but it will be exciting. Unfortunately, I won't get to see every game since I'll be out of here in May, but I will definitely be coming out for the homecoming game, so I'm excited to see that. Excited to see how this team does at the Division I level. I think it'll be really exciting.
Now, shifting sports, baseball.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up.
You know, baseball is almost like the Atlanta Hawks the last couple of years. Definition of mid.
Oof.
Literally, 22 wins, 22 losses. I think that's what it said when I was looking. Yeah, 22-22 so far this year. And the downfall has been pitching. We've been saying it for the entire season so far. They have a team average ERA of a 6. 6 earned runs on average. That just doesn't win you baseball games. Your team can be lights out batting, incredible hitting team, and that's really what West Georgia is, an incredible hitting team with a lot of mid pitching. And until you figure out how to limit the amount of runs that you're giving up, you're not going to win games.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because you're right. We can't hit the ball. We had 11 runs in our win on Friday over Mississippi College, but then we also gave up 8 in our loss to them on Saturday. So it's real. They got to find a good balance between the hitting and the pitching and all that. But shout out to our men's and women's golf team.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
they're heading to the GSC Championships today, actually. So good luck to them. Success in the championship will lead to an automatic berth in the NCAA regionals. So
Yeah, we need that. We've been talking about a lot of golf on here recently. Listen, do not do what Tiger did. You know what to do. Take care of business, get the work done so that we can win the GSC.
Anyway.
What's understood doesn't need to be explained.
Look, man, this baseball team, I got hope in them. I really do. I bought stock into this baseball team going into this year because, look, there's a lot to prove. We're going into Division I. July 1st, it becomes official. The University of West Georgia will no longer be a Division II university. But they'll be all the way up there in the batter's box with the big boys. Now, I know the pitching has struggled a little bit. But guess what? We can go out and we can pick up some guys in the transfer portal, bolster up that bullpen. These bats, they've been hot. A lot of these guys are going to continue to cook. I have a lot of hope for this baseball team. But, man, I just want to say, it's my second to last show. Gianna, it's our second to last show.
Yeah.
And seeing this much improvement in overall growth from our athletic department since we've been here has been outstanding.
Yeah.
Not only has our men's basketball team been one of the greatest in the history of this school, but we've seen the football team with a brand new coaching staff take strides. We've seen gymnastics continue their, and cheerleading continue their incredible dynasty. We've seen softball's gotten better.
Yes, they definitely
Baseball,
have.
they're I'll say they're moving in the right direction. I've just seen so much improvement and growth from everyone in athletics. It's been amazing.
You're definitely. Our soccer team's about to move on too, or move up too, because they also got a new head coach in January. So the entire athletics program is elevating.
It really is. But you know what?
In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty.
That is right, Mr. Reed. The only thing that matters is chasing a dynasty. And as a huge NFL junkie, I'm itching. I'm scratching. I cannot wait for what is coming in 3 days.
It's the bugs. They're getting you. Oh, anyway, sorry.
The NFL Draft on Wolf Sports Network this Thursday at 8 o'clock following Sports Pack. Well, it's an hour, but during that 7 to 8 o'clock break, you can go out, get some food with your friends, maybe some Jefferson's wings. Nice. You can chill, have a grand old time, and wait for the best NFL Draft coverage coming straight at you on Wolf Sports Network starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this draft is going to be wild. Because a lot of these mock drafts we see, yes, they follow the same formula. You got Caleb number 1, Drake or Jaden number 2, another quarterback probably going number 3. But here's where it gets very interesting. The New England Patriots are rumored to be trading back. Mm-hmm. And we saw another report, the Minnesota Vikings are they're itching. They're trying the best they can to get into that top 5 and make a quarterback selection. But we all know the Denver Broncos, they just made a trade for Zach Wilson today, but they've been interested in doing it. The Raiders have been interested in doing it. So, Richard, I want to pose this question to you. 3 days away from the draft, what team do we think makes the move up? And is it the Patriots that make the move down?
I think it's the Patriots that make the move down. And I'm looking at either the Vikings. I really think it's going to be the Vikings. But if not the Vikings, I think it's going to be the Oakland Raiders. Not the Oakland Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. I think it's between those two teams. I think they'll both move up to the 3rd spot to take whichever quarterback is left out of that top 3. But let's just assume right now Caleb Williams goes 1st overall and Drake May goes 2nd. I think it would be I would bet my money on the Vikings, but if not the Vikings, I think the Oakland Raiders will move up to 3rd overall, trade back with the Patriots, and draft Jaden Daniels. And we were talking about this earlier, and it's not that the Patriots don't believe in Jaden Daniels. It's just the way the Patriots are sitting right now. It's not a knock on Jaden Daniels, but more so what they could get for that pick. They're not too desperate for a quarterback. They're in year 1 of the new regime as well. They're not tripping about finding their franchise guy immediately. They still got some people on the roster that they wouldn't mind starting. Bailey Zappi still on the roster. If they can still stack the roster up enough, trade that 3rd overall pick, move back, add pieces to that defense, add pieces to that offensive line, playmakers on the outside as well. They believe they can win with Bailey Zappi. Now, they'll take one of these top quarterbacks, no question. But if they can get the right amount for that 3rd overall pick, they will definitely move.
Yeah, I agree with you, Richard. You know, I kind of want to expand on that. If they say they stick with Bailey Zappi and Bailey Zappi only, right? They don't get a quarterback in this year's draft. They're not really sweating it because of the amount of talent that's coming out of college for the next really 3 years. Honestly, there's so many good quarterbacks coming. And if they can trade back and get talent at certain positions that they're not going to see next year and the year after that, I see no reason why they don't trade back and miss out on a quarterback this year. But if they're looking at it and they say, well, this is the best available option for us, we don't think we can get that much, at a position that we need, maybe we can take a risk next year, then they'll probably go draft Jaden Daniels, right? Or some quarterback. But I think that at the end of the day, year 1, like you said, they're not really itching for a win. They've had a long history of winning. I think that they're really trying to do this right. I think that they're kind of trying to take care of a legacy, right? So they want to do this the right way. They don't want to rush too many things. They don't want to make a quick decision and ruin what could potentially be another stretch of success for the Patriots. So I think that they trade the pick back. I think they get talent at different positions that they need. Especially, they need a lot of playmakers on the offensive front. First of all, they really need help everywhere. Their secondary is not too bad, but they need big help on the defensive line. So I think they trade back, probably draft defense.
Right. And now, there's another team. I don't mean to steal your thunder here, Brent. I know you typically set everything up. But there's something I've been itching to talk about for a little while now, and nobody's discussed it. There is a team sitting with the pick in the dead smack in the middle of the first round, and I think they have one of the more valuable picks in the first round. That's 15th overall, the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah. Last year, Anthony Richardson, they drafted him in the first round. He had a phenomenal start to his season, took a big hit, got hurt, went down for the rest of the season. They went on to make the playoffs with Gardner Minshew. And we all know, based on how Anthony Richardson was playing, that team would have been much better with him as a starting quarterback. Yeah. So now we're going to get a healthy Anthony Richardson, dynamic playmaker. Still got Michael Pittman, still got Josh Downs on that team, dynamic offense, crazy backfield with Jonathan Taylor and the gang. They're sitting at 15. They can really do anything they want here. They can either stack up their defense, go get one. They're in prime position to get one of these great corners. A lot of great defenders will still be on the board. Depending on how things shake out, Jared Verse or Dallas Turner may still be on the board. But also, we think about this wide receiver class. What is it known for? Quarterbacks, yes, but also wide receivers. If they can go ahead and get a guy like Brian Thomas, A.D. Mitchell, one of these other big-time receivers with high ceilings, they could mess around and propel themselves deep into the playoff round. They got knocked out in the first round, but they'll be sitting there contending with the Houston Texans to win the AFC South and really compete for an AFC championship.
Now, let me pose this to you. Look at the Chicago Bears, right? Obviously, 1st overall pick, the 9th overall pick. They only have 4 selections this entire draft, and their 3rd pick is until 75 in the back of the 3rd round. So what about this? Why don't we propose a little trade here? The Indianapolis Colts moving from 15 to 9 to go get Rome Odunze. The Bears slide back to 15. They get either Latu or Jared Verse, whichever one falls to them. So they get their pass rusher, and they get the depth, the capital they need in the draft. Because, look, I like this Bears team next year. I think they're a team that can win 9 or 10 games. I think the NFC is going to be a little weak. I think Caleb Williams has a great rookie year. I think Keenan Allen goes there, is a great possession receiver. But if you add a young stud, a Jamar Chase 2.0 type of receiver in a 6'3" Rome Odunze that has an incredible catch radius, incredible speed, he's pro ready. You put Rome Odunze in the NFL right now, he's a fringe top 15, top 20 guy in the world. I think if you're the Colts, you got to look at this and say, yes, this is attractive to the Bears. Yes, it's something that they might want. But they might say, we're trying to build for 10 years of Caleb Williams. We're trying to build a championship contender to hang with Jordan Love and the Packers, hang with Goff and the Lions. They're going to want to build up those trenches, build up the depth. Look at what the Colts have. they already have some depth.
Yeah, they do.
They have an aggressive coach. They want to win now. They need a guy to put right next to Michael Pittman. It'd make a lot of sense to go get a Rome Odunze, pair him with Anthony Richardson, give him one of the best 1-2 punches at receiver in the league. The Bears, yes, not having Rome Odunze would stink, but guess what? You get an incredible pass rusher. You get to build your defense in a way where Caleb Williams is not going to have to do what he did at USC. He's not going to have to go out as a rookie and get you 30, 35 points to win football games. NFC North is physical football. That's what it's always been. AFC, NFC North, physical football. They got to build up the trenches. I think you can trade back and do that, but the Colts, they're a team, just like the Jaguars at 17, that I think might be aggressive trade up and try to get their franchise receiver.
You know, when it comes down to that sort of trade, I think it'd be a win-win for both teams because the Colts need playmakers, so they can either move up and get, assuming that Rome is still there, get him. But if he's off the board, they can even move up and get one of the greatest tight end prospects we've ever seen and draft Brock Bowers, stealing him away from who everybody thinks he's going to land with, the New York Jets. And then when it comes to the Bears, a lot of people are like, oh man, the Bears have a lot to get. Why would they move down from 9? Well, this draft is deep at quarterback, wide receiver, and also offensive tackle. That what they need is help in the trenches, whether they go edge rusher on the D line or stick to the offensive front 7. That could help them either way, so they can still move back to that 15th spot that the Colts have and still get a great offensive tackle because it's extremely deep. Because what they need is an O-line to protect Caleb Williams. They've already gotten the skill positions taken care of. They still got DJ Moore. They've got DeAndre Swift. They've got Cole Kmet. They've got Keenan Allen. They've got guys that can make plays. They just need to stack up that offensive line. And trading with the Colts wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. They get a little extra trade capital, probably get a 3rd round pick out of it, and still go out and get their guy, a great offensive tackle, to protect their new franchise quarterback.
So now that a little bit of time has passed since we last talked about this, where do we think J.J. McCarthy stands? Where does he fit in this draft? Is he still a high-end, top 5 pick like some were projecting him to be? Has he fallen for you down on the draft boards? Is he a low-end first-round pick? Doesn't he even get picked in the first round at all? What do we think?
I think he gets drafted in the first round, but I see it either two ways happening. I feel like these teams are going to get very quarterback hungry, get a little desperate, and be like, okay, 3 quarterbacks went off the board, top 3. We need to go ahead and get our guy right now. But really, if you sit back and wait, I think he'll be available in that 12 to 15 range. He might even be available in the second round. But realistically speaking, I think a lot of people are sold on him. He's so young. They've been sipping on the combine Kool-Aid like we say every year. And I can see a team like the Broncos sitting back, staying patient. They've got Zach Wilson, so they aren't too that's why I think it was beautiful that they signed Zach Wilson. They signed him because we know what Zach Wilson can be in the right situation. It shines sometimes. So they got a guy that they can play decent with. So they're going to sit back. That shows that the Broncos are not going to trade up. But they're going to sit back at 12. And if J.J. McCarthy happens to fall into their hands, we're like, okay, let's get him and see which quarterback is going to play the best in training camp. But if he does go early, the Broncos are like, okay, cool. We're good. We're good to sit back and be patient because we've still got Zach Wilson, a guy we can roll with. They're not desperate. I feel like a lot of teams might get desperate, and that's why we'll see J.J. go super high. But honestly, if a lot of teams stay patient, stay within themselves, he'll be available throughout the first round and maybe even into the early second.
I'm still working on my final mock draft, which will be released right before the draft, maybe a day before. I think it honestly depends on what the Commanders do at 2. Because if the Commanders take Jaden Daniels at number 2, I think the Patriots run to the podium and select Drake May. I think if the Commanders take Drake May number 2, they might look at Jaden Daniels and say, yes, he's a Heisman winner. Yes, he had an incredible season. Yes, he has a lot of talent and can still be a very good NFL quarterback. But we have so many holes on this offense. Bringing in a guy like Jaden Daniels, who's 2 years older than Drake May, who needs a team, in my opinion, to walk into, start right away. When you're looking at Jaden Daniels, you're looking at someone closer to Michael Penix or Bo Nix to me. I think Drake May is the perfect type of quarterback to put in New England. You sit him there, you let him develop, you let him mature. He's like a Josh Allen 2.0. He has all the potential in the world, but he needs to grow with his team, and he can sacrifice 2 years. He can have his first year not really playing much. Second year, maybe he goes out there, looks like Josh Allen did when he was young, but then guess what? Training wheels come off. He's a superstar. But if you're the Patriots, Drake May's on the board. Caleb Williams isn't on the board. I think that's when you have to trade back because bringing in Jaden Daniels, that's not going to give you that instant success. The team is not built around him to succeed right away, and I think Jaden Daniels needs to be put in a situation where he can start and succeed right away because that's why you were drafting Jaden Daniels. So realistically, I think J.J. McCarthy falls if the Commanders take Drake May number 2. But if they go for Jaden Daniels, that's when that quarterback run's going to start to go, because you're going to have the Patriots draft a quarterback. They're going to say, all right, we got to get Jaden Daniels now. And then the Cardinals are sitting at 4. They're taking calls. They're saying, Minnesota, you want to move up. Raiders, you want to move up. Broncos, you want to move up. Maybe the Chargers, too, sitting at number 5. We all know Harbaugh wants to beef up those trenches, wants a few pieces in the secondary. Maybe he makes a trade with Minnesota. Maybe he says, okay, I'm going to take number 11, number 23. You guys slide up to 5, get your guy. So if we see Jaden Daniels go number 2, I think J.J. McCarthy is a lock in the top 5. I think if Drake May goes number 2, we could see him fall to 9, 10, 11, 12, but he's not going to make it outside the top 15. Now, a very quick break, and when we get back, it's all NBA playoffs, baby. You're listening to Wolf Sports Network.
Hey, this is Andy Bunker from 92.9 The Game, and you're listening to the Wolf Sports Network.
This is Richard Reed here from SportsPack. Well, obviously from SportsPack. You're watching the show. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, just a quick reminder, we at Wolf Sports Network are indeed a radio station first, and as of right now, we're taking a quick song break. So either sit tight where you are and wait a couple minutes, or go over to wolfsportsnetwork.com, hit the play button in the top left corner of the screen, and listen to the great music that we're playing. And then when the song breaks over, either stick around and keep listening on the radio while you run errands or whatever else you're doing, or grab a seat and sit down and watch the rest of the YouTube stream. We'll be back soon with NBA playoff talk.
This is John Howie, your host of Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. I'm glad the Falcons fired Arthur Smith. I am also joined by Jackson Schrader.
We gotta first say the vibes in South Beach right now are immaculate.
And along with Jason Barker.
DJ Moore is about to make every fantasy manager who needs 30 points dreams come true tonight.
And together, we are Triple Threat. So make sure to tune in on Mondays to get your week started off right.
College students who binge drank alcohol at least 3 times per week were roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project as a result of drinking. That's why Printers Ale has joined Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network's Drink Responsibly campaign to remind students drinking should be done responsibly and in an environment that discourages overindulging. Faculty won't take your hangovers as excuses.
The Celtics are the overwhelming favorites in the East. But this little piggy tells me somebody else is coming up big. Real big. That is cursed.
Absolutely wild. Now, The dust is settled on all game ones. We got a slate of game twos tonight. The Magic take on the Cavaliers. The 76ers take on the Knicks. And we'll talk a little bit about the Lakers and the Nuggets during the Western Conference segment. But, Mr. Reed, going to kick it off with you. Looking at all the game ones in the East, what stood out to you the most? Was there a team that really impressed you? Was there a team that disappointed you? Where's your head out right now?
Man, it's hard. When thinking about the East, it's hard not to think about Joel Embiid going down.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the biggest part because it was a back-and-forth game the entire way through. Even after he went down, Tyrese Maxey went on and dropped 33 points, and the Knicks won 111-104. But without Joel Embiid, man, is it even possible? Because the Knicks are an extremely good team. But with Joel Embiid, the 76ers will make this a 6- and 7-game series. It'll come down to whoever has the ball last. But without Joel Embiid, man, it's like it's hard because it's like over the past few years, we've been bashing Anthony Davis for not being able to stay healthy. Glass Bones Davis, Paper Skin Davis, like he's never on the court. Anthony Day-to-Day Davis, all that.
Yeah.
It's time to start holding Joel Embiid to that same standard. Because Joel Embiid had the most stylish injury I've ever seen in my life. Put back dunk, slam it, goes down, and he's just not moving. But without Joel Embiid in this series, the New York Knicks are going to roll. The New York Knicks are going to mess around and win this series in 5 games if Joel Embiid can't find a way back. Now, I think he will, but I feel like it won't be until game 4. And by that point, the odds are going to be against them. They're going to be down 3-0, and it's going to be like, is it even possible with Embiid to win the series?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard series for the Sixers. I just want to point out real quick that this was the first time since 2013 that all of the home teams won in game 1. That's actually really impressive, and a lot of them were very dominant wins. I watched a majority of those games, and in my opinion, the only competitive ones were Sixers-Knicks, Lakers-Nuggets, and then Pelicans-Thunder. Mm-hmm. Everything else, every other game, it was like the home team absolutely dominant. No, the Heat did bad. I'm so sorry, the Heat did bad.
The Heat cut it to a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Cut it to a 15-point lead. Can you hear yourself?
Absolutely insane. But to your point about the Sixers, it's not looking good if Embiid isn't to his same level of competition as he has been years prior and even before this injury. I mean, he's still dominant on the court, but without him, it's very when he's on the bench, it's very obvious the Sixers can't get it done without him. I mean, when he was off the court, the Knicks outscored the Sixers by 21 points in 11 minutes. That's absolutely insane. Yeah. But then even with Embiid on the court, it's not that much better because he's not attacking the boards like he was before his injury. And the Knicks are the the best offensive rebounding team in the league, or like one of the best. Like, so if Embiid and anybody else aren't, crashing the boards, the Knicks are going to get this done, like point blank period.
Now, there was another big-time game in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers.
I was going to talk about
Damian Lillard had an offensive explosion in the first half, got out to a big lead. But then the Pacers stayed with him the entire game, and the Bucks ended up winning 109-94. But I just want to say this. The offensive explosion from Damian Lillard was incredible. It was great to watch, 35 points in the first half, but he didn't score again in the second half. And you might be able to say yes because they had a huge lead, all that. He didn't have to score. But the moral of the story is he didn't score. Tyrese Halliburton, the star for the Indiana Pacers, he only had 9 points. Pascal Siakam dropped 30.
Yep.
Without Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Milwaukee Bucks will lose this series. The offensive explosion from Dame was amazing. It was beautiful. It was great to see it. But that second half shows that the Milwaukee Bucks cannot hold them at bay without Giannis, because the Indiana Pacers had a terrible shooting night and this game was way closer than it should have been. The Bucks were up 30 at one point. So if Giannis doesn't find a way to get back on this court before the series is over, we're going to see the Pacers walk away with this one pretty easily.
I think what it comes down to is this is a matchup nightmare for the Bucks, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I think that the Pacers are built to beat teams like the Bucks, especially when they don't have Giannis on the court.
Yep.
They've got size over Milwaukee. Brook Lopez, he'll get you a couple boards, but at the end of the day,
but he's no center.
He's
not
center.
A pure center.
Right. And when you've got guys on the Pacers that are out rebounding every single guy on your team, basically, it's very hard to consistently stay ahead of them, right? Like, it just so happened that because Dame had a crazy good game, that that the Bucks barely got the job done. But if you're looking at the Pacers, even if Siakam has a 26-point night, if Halliburton's on and he scores 30, it makes up the difference.
That game goes the Pacers' way.
It goes the Pacers' way. Like I said, this is a matchup nightmare for the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think that it's going to take Dame having a game like that the entire series to keep this competitive.
No, you're definitely right. Obviously that 35 points, absolutely impressive, a monster game for him. But you're right, him not scoring the second half is honestly unacceptable as long as Giannis isn't on the court.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
To be fair, their bench and the supporting cast, they kind of helped out the Bucks, but realistically, they're going to need Damian to be on Dame time the entire series.
Yeah, like we've seen Damian Lillard do it before. That incredible playoff series when they put out the Thunder in 6 when he was still playing for the Trailblazers. They went on to go on an incredible run. Damian Lillard still has it in him. He showed us in that game last night. But the thing is, the Pacers were off, and that game ended up being way closer than it should have been. The Bucks had a big cushion after the first half, but the Pacers closed the gap. Now, the Bucks are extremely lucky that they took this game because it puts them up 1-0, gives Giannis more time. But I love Damian Lillard. I think he's a great player, one of the greatest scorers that we've ever seen. But I don't know if he has it in him to carry this on for an entire series. They need Chris Middleton to step up, and they need Giannis to come back to save them because they're going to need help because the Pacers are going to make this a series, and I don't think a lot of people are ready for it.
Yeah, like the Pacers aren't going to have an off shooting night that many times in this series. This might be that one fluke.
Halliburton might just go drop 40.
Right.
That's the thing. You just never really know.
40 and 15.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just like that.
I think the only thing that can be said about this Pacers, this team and their mistakes is that they're inexperienced. They're young. A lot of their key guys, that was their very first playoff game. So also they're going to have to get through the nerves and mistakes. And they had mistakes. I mean, we've said it. Their shooting was absolutely awful. They were 21% from the three-point line. That's absolutely unacceptable. But that's not going to happen that often. I think they're going to turn around. They're going to figure out their mistakes. They're going to figure out what they did wrong and fix it in game 2.
Look, man, the stager, right? We said, there's another beast out east. Your little piggy says there's someone that can, give the Boston Celtics a little run for their money. I'm looking at the biggest Celtics fan in house, Jackson Vols, right now. Someone may be able to give this Celtics team a run for their money. But it entirely fringes upon the Bucks getting their business done. Now, I picked the Pacers to win this series. I'm not feeling great about it right now after their Game 1 performance, but all of you are right. If the Pacers cook, if Tyrese scores more than 9 points, if he gives you even a cool 20 and 10, if he does what we've seen him do all season long, now he did struggle after the All-Star break, but if he gets back to the Tyrese Halliburton we all know and love, 22 and 10, Siakam stays on a heater, they pick up game 2, it's 1-1, they go back to Indiana, they get back 2-2, they got a decent shot of stealing the series. But if the Milwaukee Bucks get past the Pacers, they get past the Knicks/76ers. Now, I did want to comment on the 76ers. Tyrese Maxey is also a game-time decision tonight with a illness.
Yeah, he's sick or something.
Yeah, he's battling the flu, so he's a game-time decision.
Luck, man.
See, I didn't even know that.
The Sixers really
he was in Vegas with me, so, I gave him a little piece of that Vegas play.
I tell you what, though, I would love,
you gave Tyrese Maxey a piece of Vegas play?
Okay.
What is that?
Stop.
You know what? Let's move on.
I would absolutely love to see a New York Knicks Indiana Pacers conference semifinals matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be an incredible series.
That'd be insane.
The matchups between them would be very, very fun to watch based on how those teams are structured. So, honestly, though, if Indiana gets past Milwaukee and Embiid's still down, they somehow get past the Knicks, don't be surprised if Indiana beats the Sixers too. Because, if you really think about it, if you look at the way that Milwaukee structured versus the way Philadelphia is structured, you've got two really good big men. They're battling injury, right? Yeah. And then they've got incredible guards that are scoring a lot of points, right? And granted, I'd give the edge to Milwaukee 9 times out of 10 over Philadelphia, in my opinion. But if the Pacers can get through Milwaukee, they can most definitely get through the 76ers. You might just see them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think that's where Brendan was going with that, but I think he was saying that with the Bucks. I think he was about to say if the Bucks get through, they're the biggest threat to the Celtics.
They are. Look, I don't believe in Doc Rivers. Okay, at all. I mean, I think Dave Moore probably would do a better job coaching the Milwaukee Bucks. Shout out Coach Dave Moore. And that's nothing against Dave Moore. He's a phenomenal basketball coach. I think he's better than an NBA champion. But look, Giannis averaged 30 on 60% shooting this year. Everyone forgets Giannis. Everyone likes to leave him at the little truck stop. Everyone likes to get in everybody like Jackson Vols. They like to forget him at the truck stop, They like to get in the car with Embiid, the MVP, Jokic, the MVP, Luka Doncic, the cool guy, shooting his threes with 77 on his chest.
Okay.
But guess what? Giannis, it may not look pretty. He might look like a tall kid with a Nerf hoop in his room going crazy on it. That's how Giannis plays basketball, like the one lanky kid that's not very good at actual basketball. But boy, when he gets home with that Nerf hoop, he is throwing it down, son. That is what Giannis is, but guess what? Giannis is a top 20 player ever. Yep. Giannis is a top 5 player in the world. Giannis goes against these Celtics, he has a puncher's chance because the one thing the Celtics team lacks is a superstar I trust with a championship on the line, with the game on the line. Jason Tatum, he has to prove it to me when the lights are at its brightest. He's been too inconsistent his entire career. I have a lot of respect for Tatum. I do. But at the end of the day, if it's a game 7, even in the Garden, and you got Giannis, you got Tatum, I think I'm taking the Greek Freak to get something done.
You've got Giannis, and they got 2 other players I trust. You got Damian Lillard in the clutch, and also Chris Middleton, who we've seen come up big in playoff series. If they can find a way to get through the Indiana Pacers, I think the Bucks will represent the East in the finals, but they got to get through Indiana. We've got a battle brewing out west with the Nuggets looking to go back-to-back. But the young bloods out west ain't going to go down easy.
Man.
No, Brendan, I like you, man. I like you.
Hey,
Great minds think alike, man.
Hey, man, you're a really solid guy, Richard, you know?
I'm going to set you up with my daughter.
I already have a girlfriend. I'm all right on that.
Good answer.
Plus the 30-year age difference there will probably be a little...
Wait, you have a daughter?
Yeah, I had her when I was about 7.
Stop. Stop. And we're moving on. NBA West.
Anyways, guys, what a Game 1 slate in the Western Conference. Now, the East was a little bit but the West, I'll tell you what, man, that Lakers-Nuggets game was insane. What about the Clippers running through the Dallas Mavericks with no Kawhi Leonard? The Thunder struggled against the Pelicans, got it done 94-92, but the game we have to start off with, the Minnesota Timberwolves, 120-95 over the Phoenix Suns. Y'all saw, they were howling, but y'all saw Anthony Edwards howling in Kevin Durant's face after dropping 33 points on 14 of 24 shooting. A superstar performance where he looked like the guy who everyone says looks like his daddy, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. This is the type of basketball Anthony Edwards is playing at right now. The Timberwolves are on fire. Are they the biggest threat to the Nuggets in the West?
Let's stick to this series. But what I will say, I don't know who the biggest threat to the Nuggets is in the West right now. I need to think. I'll probably know by the end of this segment. But this series is about to be incredible. Because the Minnesota Timberwolves, led by Anthony Edwards, are showing they're here to ball out. They're here to compete. They're not scared of all the big names on this Suns team because these big names haven't been able to gel consistently throughout the entirety of the season, and they showed that in Game 1. Now, I do expect the Suns to take a few games. I expect to see this series go down to 6 or 7 games. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be one of those series when we're sitting back watching the Anthony Edwards documentary 15, 20 years from now. They're going to talk about
he's like that.
They're going to talk about this series as one of his defining moments in his career. They're going to be like Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, number 3 seed in the West, had to face future Hall of Famer Kevin Durant, superstar Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. It's just going to be one of those things. It's going to be one of those series. I can't wait to continue to watch the rest of it. It's going to be legendary. It's going to go down in 7, but I'm taking them Wolves.
Now, look, this game was, energetic, exciting. It was great for the NBA. What were we talking about earlier this semester? We were saying we're going to start to see some of these guys. We're going to see a shift. We've already started to see it a little bit. Shea's been taking over. Luke has been taking over. Anthony Edwards starting to show that he can be the face of the league.
Charles Barkley famously said, "These young boys is coming," and he was right.
They coming hard.
Richard.
So
what?
This game was energetic. This series is going to continue to be energetic. But I look at it this way: the Timberwolves didn't win because of Anthony Edwards. That wasn't the reason why.
Yep, I was going to bring it up.
The reason why the Timberwolves won is because of the GOAT, Naz Reid. And his secondary GOAT, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, coming off the bench. They played incredible. Naz Reid scored 12 off the bench, and Alexander-Walker scored 18. That's what made the difference for the Timberwolves. If those guys have their normal games, scoring 10 or less points, all of a sudden, that game is a whole lot closer. And KD in crunch time, I'm taking him over anyone on the court in this series. So I think it's going to go down. I agree with you, Richard. I think it's going to come down to 6 or 7 games. It's going to be incredible. But Anthony Edwards, this is his legacy series. I agree with you. I think that if he can get the job done and beat the Phoenix Suns, beat the super team that was
22 years old.
I mean, Phoenix went out and they assembled the Avengers to try and take down this incredibly difficult gauntlet of a Western Conference. So if Anthony Edwards can roll in there and say, no, this is my league now. I'm taking over. I'm beating you, Kevin Durant. I'm beating you, Devin Booker. I'm beating you, Bradley Beal. All of you. Anthony Edwards Legacy Series. Give me the Wolves in 7.
Yeah, I love it. It's definitely going to go down to the wire. Obviously, the offense is a big key to this game. But we got to shout out this defense for this Timberwolves team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, shout out Rudy Gobert. He's holding it down in the interior. We've known that.
16 rebounds.
Right, he has been that guy down in the paint for the Timberwolves. But also, shout out Jaden McDaniels. He was literally everywhere on the court, just disrupting the Suns'
What Anthony
offense.
Edwards say? They got Kevin Durant. We got Jaden McDaniels.
Right, like
Come
he
on, man.
was absolutely everywhere, disrupting them at the three-point line. He was everywhere. Like, I don't know how much I can say it. He disrupted the Suns. They couldn't get anything with him out there.
Really quick, I just want to put this out there. You mentioned defense. The Minnesota Timberwolves out-rebounded the Phoenix Suns 52-28.
That's crazy.
You take away Rudy Gobert's 16, and they're still out-rebounding them.
They're still up.
Okay, Richard's feeling it a little too much now.
I'm just saying,
I mean,
man.
I get it. Anthony Edwards was a dog.
Georgia boy, face of the NBA.
Now,
come on now.
Hold on. The old adage is true. Offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships, y'all.
There you go.
I think for our last segment, we need to talk about who's the biggest threat to the Nuggets. I got a little too revved up there. I need to think about it.
I got a little something. I think I know.
Y'all say too far.
I'll wait on it.
Now listen. What does all this say about Kevin Durant? What does this say about
he
the
dropped 30
Phoenix
points.
Suns? Now listen, Kevin
There wasn't
Durant,
enough.
I have all the respect for in the world, okay? He's one of the greatest players I've ever seen, one of the greatest players of our generation, a top 15 talent of all time. Really top 15 player, but a top 5 to 10 talent. I mean,
Right.
he's
up
darn
there.
near 7-footer that can pull up from 30 like Stephen A. Smith so infamously says. Incredible defensive talent, underrated defensive talent. People don't really give him his flowers there with the Warriors. He was incredible on defense.
He was.
Been one of the best scorers. He got like 6-7 scoring titles. I mean, the dude is made. The dude is incredible, but hasn't been to the conference finals since 2017. Hasn't really done much since Steph Curry. Now, I know besides 2022, Curry hasn't done a whole lot without him either, but the Nets saga was a mess. Oof. The Suns so far, it's been kind of a mess. What do we think this says about not only the Suns, but Kevin Durant if they were to be put out in 5 or 6 in this first round?
This playoff run means everything for Kevin Durant's legacy, because ever since those years with Golden State where they won back-to-back titles, they were at the top, they were at the mountain peak, he was known as the guy that couldn't get it done. Yeah. So then he moves on to Brooklyn, and what happens? His foot was on the line in the game against the Bucks. They get put out in Game 7.
Did they win that championship if his foot's on the line?
They win it. They would have won it that year, but afterwards, everything imploded. It all fell apart. These past few years in Phoenix haven't been working out so far. They need to win this series. And if you see a Kevin Durant-led super team, because they put together a super team, fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have a very bright future, but are led by a superstar that is only 22 years old. If he comes in and beats you in 7 in the first round of the playoffs, I don't care how good Kevin Durant plays, it's going to tarnish his legacy. Because a lot of people are going to look at him and be like, yeah, Kevin Durant was great, top 5 talent of all time, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. I love Kevin Durant. He's one of my favorite players. But are you just going to look at him and be like, dang, what is he without Stephen Curry?
And
without Stephen Curry, he has nothing. He has no rings without Stephen Curry. So this is huge for Kevin Durant. He needs to win this series. They need to go on a very deep playoff run and make a push for the Western Conference Finals. They need to be the biggest threat to the Denver Nuggets. But it's going to be hard to get past the Timberwolves. And if they don't, it's going to be rough for his legacy.
Now, we're talking about this young team, the Timberwolves. There is another young team in the West that had a pretty good game last night. The Thunder in that Pelicans game, that was intense. I feel like it was more intense than any number 1, number 8 seeded game would have been, or should have been, in my opinion. It was crazy. I think a lot of people were, doubting the Thunder because of their inexperience. But it kind of showed in that fourth quarter. They had so many turnovers and so many missed opportunities to really, put some distance between them and the Pelicans. But I mean, they took care of it. How are we feeling about this Thunder team?
Look, this game proved how valuable Zion Williamson is.
Yeah.
this showed that without him on the court, that Pelicans team is completely different. They're not playing nearly as well. They had Herbert Jones starting in his place.
Hey, no Herb Jones slander.
Okay.
Alabama legend. No
All
Herb
right.
Jones slander.
All right.
He can hold it down on defense.
The big part is the fact that it was a game, like you were saying, though, Gavin. The Thunder won by 2 points without Zion on the court.
Yep.
So when Zion inevitably gets back healthy and prayerfully stays healthy for the rest of the playoffs, there's no telling what the Pelicans might do in the series.
Josh Giddey scored 2 points. Talk about a major inconvenience, not just a minor inconvenience. I mean, Josh Giddey has got to have a bigger impact on the court here.
Yeah.
Shea had an incredible Shea Gilgeous-Alexander game. He scored 28 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, very solid. Chet had a great game, went 15 and 11. I mean,
Jalen Williams.
They all played very well, but at the same time, without Zion, if Zion's in that game,
It's
the
completely
score's
different.
reversed.
Yep.
The Pelicans get the job done, and they've got a big advantage starting off the series against the Thunder. I think that this, along with what we were saying earlier with the Wolves series, I think that this series is going to go down to 6 or 7 games at the end of the day. Not because necessarily of the Thunder's inexperience, but because of the fact that the Pelicans have finally found a way to mesh together, gel together. Zion, I pray that he gets better very, very soon. I pray that he still plays, because with him on the court, that Pelicans team is a team that can make it to the conference finals, in my opinion.
Yeah, but without him on the court, Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum are going to have to step up.
Why
way
did CJ
more.
take that final shot?
That's
Give the
what
ball to Brandon
it looked
Ingram.
It was so
the ball
bad.
should have been in Brandon Ingram's hands.
Right. But they are going to need to step up until Zion comes back, or the Thunder might take it.
Dude, here's the thing. Zion won't be back until Game 5 at the absolute earliest, probably Game 6. But if he was starting this series healthy, fresh, I think they would beat the Thunder. I genuinely do. I think I'm with you, Gavin. This Pelicans team is incredibly dangerous. And if it's 2-2, they get to Game 5, he can maybe play. Or they're down 3-2, he comes back for Game 6. I'm giving them a good shot of getting this series done. But here's the thing, Gianni, you're absolutely right. Brandon Ingram, he's got to step up. He's shown his flashes so many times in the past of being this skinny assassin, this slim reaper, maybe a Kevin Durant 2.0 type. Not saying he'll be anything close to him, but hey, you can show us some flashes. Game 3, Game 4, back in the Bayou, step up, get it done, drop 30, create a little cushion for Zion to get back, and guess what? This team can go to the conference finals. Now, all these NBA games have been incredible so far, and I'm sure you've been watching them at home, which is spectacular. Your couch is comfortable. But you know what's more comfortable than being at home watching the NBA playoffs?
Being in bed sleep.
Hey, maybe. But in this instance, it's being in a booth at Jefferson's with a wing in your hand and a soda in the other hand, because Jefferson's in Carrollton has 20 flat screen TVs. They also have a full bar with 16 draft beers. Please drink responsibly. A covered porch and an outdoor area for cornhole. Whether it's the big game or you want a chill afternoon with your friends, Jefferson's in Carrollton is your full stop for fun. Located at 342 Maple Street. Visit their website at jeffersons.com or follow them on Instagram at Jeffersons_Carrollton. Now, a quick break, and when we come back, hot take debate. Hot take debate. Hot take debate. Hot take debate. Woo!
Hey guys, this is Bobby Butler, and you're listening to Sports Pack only on the Wolf Sports.
This is Richard Reed here. Another quick reminder where we at Wolf Sports Network are our radio station first, and right now we're taking a quick song break. So shoot on over to wolfsportsnetwork.com, hit the play button at the top of the screen, and listen to the great music that we're playing on there. And then when we're done, either stick around there, walk around the house, continue to listen to the show through radio, or hop on back over to the YouTube or Twitch stream, however you're watching, and watch the rest of this hot take debate, because we're about to talk about who's the biggest threat to the Nuggets in the Western Conference. Stay tuned.
Now, this is your sports director, Brendan Willoughby Ray. You know, we're on a break right now. We're all chilling, but I only got 2 of these shows left, so I'm going to preach to America, you know? There was a poll that came out, I think it was actually today, that had 133 NBA players voting, you know, who's the greatest NBA player of all time. The vote was the closest it has ever been. LeBron's making up ground. He was at 38% last year. This year he's at 42%.
Well, you know why.
Because the younger generation's taking
Yeah, I mean,
over.
he's their
Absolutely.
goat.
I just wanted to make a statement in case we don't have time for it on Thursday's show. At this point in your life, if you believe that Michael Jeffrey Jordan was better at basketball than LeBron Raymond James Sr., you are delusional. You are living a lie. You are looking through the Coke bottle glasses that are nostalgia. We are watching a man in year 21 redefine what it means to be generational, redefine what it means to be the greatest of all time. We are seeing a man at 39 years old be a top 5 player at his craft in the world. This man has been doing this for 20 years professionally. He came in at 18 years old with all the expectations on him in the world, the most expectations we have ever put on a teenager in America. He has not only delivered, but he has exceeded expectations. He has gone to 10 NBA finals. Yes, lost 6 of them, but he's gone against dynasty after dynasty after dynasty. We have not seen a guy be this clutch for this long. We have not seen a guy dominate for this long. We have not seen a guy take crappy coaches to the distance. We have not seen guys just be this great in so many different contexts.
Yes, lost 6 of them is crazy.
Yes, lost 6 of them is hilarious. But I will say this: I will give LeBron his flowers. LeBron is great, and every game LeBron plays at this high of a level is making the debate harder and harder.
Yes.
It's only right that he is going up those polls. And I'm a guy that's been arguing Jordan for years for my entire life, even though I ain't been alive that long. I'm about 7 years old. But look, LeBron is making it harder and harder, and if he can find a way to overcome the Denver Nuggets and make another deep playoff run, he is pretty much undeniable.
Listen, man, all I want to say is, I have a lot of respect for Michael Jordan. He's a very solid number 2. I'll say that. Michael Jordan, he's a great player, very solid number 2, but
the best the number 2 could ever be.
The best thing number 2 could ever be. I mean, an exemplary number 2. I'm talking newspaper and all. I mean, he's an incredible number 2.
Never mind. Not that number 2.
But last thing I'm going to say before we get to our segment, please watch any finals game of Jordan's career versus one of LeBron's and tell me that Michael Jordan is
Team sucks and I'm mad as heck. Jason Kelsey made me cry at the press. But never fear, cause Saquon's here. Goodness gracious, I'm fired up. Tune in to Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesday at 5 to check out our hit segment, Fire Me Up. Only on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here. Now in Odyssey Station.
Shooey! Now, binge drinking is consuming 5 drinks or more on one occasion for males and 4 drinks or more for females. However, some college students drink twice that amount. That is why Printers Ale has joined Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network's Drink Responsibly campaign to make sure all of our wolves stay safe when drinking. Never drink under the age of 21 and always have a designated driver. Oh, and throw in some good food. How about some Jefferson's Wings? Visit printers-ale.com to learn more.
Hot takes. You thought I was playing?
It's time to debate.
Hot take debate. Hot take debate. Hot take debate. Hot take debate.
Whoa!
Okay.
It is time
All right.
for the hot take debate. You thought we were done. We're not done yet. We are cooking in the kitchen. And we are looking at the Western Conference playoffs right now, okay? The Denver Nuggets, they're the 2 seed, but everyone knows they are the top dog out west. But someone's going to have to challenge them. Someone's got to knock on the door and demand a 6 or a 7 game series. Now, Gavin, I'm going to kick it to you first. Which team in the West is best suited to not only challenge this Denver Nuggets team, but potentially knock them off and deny them a trip back to the NBA Finals for the 2nd year in a row?
I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm going to be honest.
Let me be honest.
Okay.
It's not the Lakers. It's not the Thunder. It's not the Pelicans.
Caw.
It is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord is right, baby. I look at this first game. We were already talking about it before. Minnesota Phoenix, right? And yes, you can say it was such a close game. They only won because some of their guys off the bench had a great performance. That argument may be slightly correct, but at the same time, if any team is equipped to take down this Denver team, it's the Timberwolves, in my opinion. It's not the Lakers. We've already seen it. They're going to get dominated in the series. I'm sorry, Brendan. LeBron's GOAT case may just be hindered a little bit more. The Lakers, I think, are going to get dominated. At most, it goes to 5 games in the series. The Lakers might win 1. I think that the Dallas Mavericks, as presently built, don't have a team that can compete size-wise with the Denver Nuggets. They don't have a team that can dominate Denver inside in the paint. Jokic would run all over the Mavericks. The LA Clippers, a bunch of old heads, some of the best the NBA has ever seen. They're playing really well right now. They're hot right now. But can they stay consistent? Can they stay healthy? They're without Kawhi right now. He comes back. He may go down again, or maybe James Harden goes down. You just don't really know. That Clippers team, it's just a big question mark in my opinion. That's why I'm leaving them out of this. Oklahoma City, yes, they've got the talent. They've got an MVP frontrunner case in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but at the same time, I think that Chet Holmgren doesn't have enough to hold up with Jokic. I don't think that they're presently built to beat Denver either. The Pelicans with Zion, it's a big difference maker. Yes.
Well, tell us what sets the T-Wolves apart.
I'm getting there,
Yeah,
Richard. Stop rushing me here.
We ain't got that much time.
What sets the Timberwolves apart is that they have Anthony Edwards, first of all, who is a generational talent, going to be the face of the league in the next 3 years at least. He's going to continue to be the face of the league. He takes games over. That's one thing that Denver really hasn't had to face so far in the last couple of years in the playoffs, is consistently an entire series full of a guy that takes a series over. Rudy Gobert, all you've got to do is just dominate the paint, get boards over Jokic. Jokic is going to do his thing. He's going to score. If Gobert can dominate the paint, out-rebound Jokic, and they can find a way to limit Denver's three-point scoring, which I think that they're fully capable of doing, Minnesota's perimeter defense is incredible. It really is. If they can find a way to just find the small weaknesses in Denver, exploit them, make them bigger, they're going to get the job done. Give me the Timberwolves.
Now, I like the Timberwolves team. I understand what you're saying. They've got scoring with Anthony Edwards. They got scoring with Karl Anthony Towns, who I'm so happy he's back healthy. Rudy Gobert down low. He can try to limit Jokic, dominate the boards. But I look at another team. It's one of the teams that you just dissed a minute ago. I think it's the LA Clippers, man. I think it's now or never. They've got 2 of the best two-way players in the NBA with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who will be back healthy and ready to compete in the playoffs. He's going to be well rested. Shoot, this might be low management in disguise. We have no idea. They still have James Harden, who just showed the other night he can still ball. He's one of the better point guards in the NBA since he's left Houston, but he can still go out there and score and distribute the ball. They've got Ivan Zubac down low, who just had 15 rebounds the other night against the Dallas Mavericks, 11 of which were defensive rebounds, as they're going to need against the Nuggets. And they've also got Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, who's been one of the best players coming off the bench this NBA season. So they've got the team, they've got the playoff experience, they've got dogs, they got guys that want it. James Harden is dying for a championship. Paul George has been itching for one. They're all in the last year in their contracts with the LA Clippers. It's now or never for this team, and I think they're going to give I think they're going to face off with the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals, and I think it's going to end up being a 7-game series. I'm not sure which way it's going to go yet, but I think the LA Clippers are the team that is most built to compete. They're going to do their thing. Jokic's going to do his thing. Jamal Murray's going to do his thing. But I think this team can outscore the Clippers any given night. It's going to be a great series when they face off. It's going to come down to whoever has the last shot.
I got to agree with Richard here. I mean, you're right. It is now or never for this team because a lot of these guys, they don't have that many years left realistically playing at the level that they are playing right now. Now, they took care of the Mavs in Game 1, and yes, it was Game 1, and they were without Kawhi Leonard, and that's huge for them because Kawhi Leonard is a big piece of this team. Now, I know the Mavs aren't the Nuggets in any, uncertain terms, but seeing them get it done without Kawhi like that proves that they can get it done against a team like the Mavs. Like, the Mavs are a good team, and James Harden showed that he can take over and control a game after all the slander that he's received for the past couple of years. He has proved that he can still be that guy and still shoot at the level that he needs to get it done. What's happening?
Well, someone in the chat just said LeBron's around number 5 or number 6 on his list. So, I mean, I
don't really see how that's possible.
I'm a little shell-shocked by that one. But, man,
we don't have a
you know what? Richard, Gianna, I agree with you.
Whoa.
Wow.
But I'm going to add one caveat. It's not only the Clippers. It's whoever wins that Clippers-Mavericks series. Because if this Dallas Mavericks team finds a way to get to the conference finals, You cannot count out a duo in Kyrie and Luka that can drop 70 or 80 on your head any given night. What do the Nuggets do better than anyone? They hit threes. They hit impossible shots. They got a roster of 8 guys that can all go 4, 5, 4, 6 from 3 on any given night. But if you got to go bucket for bucket with a team, I want Luka. I want Kyrie. I'm putting a little bit of faith in this Dallas Mavericks team. I picked them to beat the Clippers. That's looking a little shaky right now, but the winner of this Clippers-Mavericks series will take the Nuggets at least 6, maybe 7 in the conference finals. I still think the Nuggets probably win the West, but do not lock it in quite yet. This is still an incredible conference, and I still have a lot of faith in either the Clippers or the Mavericks. But with all that being said, that's all the time we have left for Sports Pack. And this has been our second to last show, our penultimate show.
One more show.
So our final Sports Pack with yours truly and Gianna will be this Thursday at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a huge event. And then the draft show will follow an hour after at 8 o'clock. So make sure everybody, your grandmother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your lover, anybody that's around.
Shoot, your cousin might be your lover.
Hey, there you go.
No, sir.
And if so, they got to tune into Sports Pack on Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern Time. One last big party. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you. We'll see you Thursday, and we're going to have a fun time doing it.
You are now listening to WSN, the Wolf Sports